we start to identify some type of plan for how that looks moving forward. Whether it be one teacher every year, the same teacher every year, multiple teachers every year, a whole grade level for 1 year, something like that. We haven't had those conversations yet as a staff, but we will. And my aim is not to do something like really quick, but to gradually work on all the details and make sure that it's something that we want to do before we go all in on it. So, any questions on that? Yep.
Actually,
No?
what are the percentage? So I think I heard, I don't know if it was from you or just people talking about as far as the looping, what percentage of kids will go?
Fantastic question. So one of the things that I have told the teachers is the majority of the students will loop with the teachers, but not all the students. One of the things that you want to do, I think, when a teacher is looping is you want to leave some space for personality matches and differences, right? So there could be a few students who could use a new face, a new voice, a new direction. There could be some families that want that as well. There could be a teacher that said, like, I love this kid, but guess what? You know, like, they're so strong that they don't need to be with me. So there's a lot of things like that, and having gone through that process myself multiple years, I looped with my kids 3 years in a row, and I inherited the lowest group of students in my school district from 3rd grade, and I looped with them to 5th grade. At the end of 5th grade, they were the strongest performing cohort in our district. And that the benefits to looping are things like being able to know the families inside and out. You've established relationships with all those students and families. You know exactly where their holes and deficiencies lie from an academic standpoint. You know what their triggers are from a behavioral standpoint. You know how to motivate those students. They know your expectations for classroom and behavior management. So on day one, what does every single teacher do for a week or two at a time at the beginning of the year? Anybody know?
Policies and procedures.
Policies, procedures, expectations, right? Well, when you loop, you don't have to spend a week or two going over expectations and systems and routines. The kids know it. And so you can hit the ground running. The other benefit to that is when you insert new students into that cohort of kids, the other students assimilate for you. They help teach the other students the systems and policies and expectations. And as a teacher, you're freed up to focus all of your time on instruction. Whereas where a school like us, that's how we're gonna get from being just another A school to being at the top of that pile, is maximizing every single minute that we have.
If they're looping, if the teachers are looping every year, what about like the curriculum? Because that's one of my worries about with the looping is that it seems like some of the teachers, like the new math curriculum, for example, some teachers that have been in the same grade are really struggling with the math curriculum, even now, halfway through the year, or more than halfway through the year. And if they're changing every year, how will that affect, like if they're not familiar with the rest of the curriculum, will the kids suffer because of that, because they're changing curriculum every single year?
Right. Great
And
question.
same thing with the classroom, like then, you know, if their classroom, you know, the books aren't the same for 5th grade as they are for 3rd grade, or, you know, how will that
That's a
work?
valid point. Do you have a response?
I was just gonna say, being the resource teacher, I know I was working with each grade level, like going, but it was awesome. Because I was so much stronger for 4th grade, knowing when I was gonna be working on 5th grade, I could actually prepare those students in 4th grade a little bit sooner for things that they were gonna see in 5th grade, or change it a little. It's very knowledgeable for the teachers. And it was awesome because I could see where they needed to be in 6th grade, and I could help them a little bit more with a little bit different way of teaching, and it just makes the strategies, even have 3 strategies that I know is gonna help them eventually by the time they get to 6th grade, and they're gonna know these strategies 3 years in a row or whatever it is. So for me, I think once the teacher learns it anyway, it's awesome.
You stole the words out of my mouth. There is no drawbacks for the student. The work that the teacher, it's hard for the teachers, for some teachers, to adapt to the nuances of the different grade level curriculum. But guess what? you know, this isn't challenging at elementary. It's challenging when you get to middle school and you're talking about algebra and geometry and different things like that. Here, the nuances of a math curriculum is, we're still talking about plus, minus, multiplication, division. It's things that the teachers inherently know. It's about the pacing of the new curriculum. It's about figuring out those little nuances of what's gonna work best for the kids with this new curriculum. Well, by next year, those teachers should know that. And so the teachers who are looping are actually gonna be, in my opinion, in a better position, having known where the students' holes and deficiencies, what things they respond to well in the curriculum, and they can hit the ground running, whereas the teachers who are staying in the same grade are inheriting a whole new group of students who they don't know those intricacies of what they will respond to in the curriculum. They might have conversations with the other teachers, but to have conversations about every single student's nuances of, well, they don't respond well to these exit tickets, or this anticipatory set doesn't really work well for these group of students. A teacher who's looping knows that. And so it's actually easier. For me, looping from a third to fourth to fifth, and I actually came from sixth before. So I knew exactly where the students were going and coming from. And I knew their holes and deficiencies, so I spent all my time on what those were and strengthening them. So I think it's gonna be really good for the students, and the teachers who are looping will have a certain advantage, assuming that, and I'm kind of being a little flippant here, elementary school math or reading doesn't trip them up, and it shouldn't. If it does, then we got a whole nother set of problems, right? So I feel good about that. That's a great question. Yes?
Because like if you're looping 3 grades, if you.
Well, I'm not saying that we're gonna do that. I've done that.
Okay.
So,
So, I mean, how does that look though? Because I mean, what you're talking about is like, if you can anticipate like what the next grade, like if you haven't taught, if you're 4th and you're looping to 5th, you haven't taught 5th, how do you, I'm not sure that's clear on how, like, now from a resource teacher, I get that when they're working with different levels altogether, where they can say, oh, well, I know it's coming over here, but for one teacher that's teaching 4th grade now, that we're gonna lead to 5th grade, if they're not, like, I don't know, that's confusing to me, as far as how do they anticipate, they don't, if they haven't taught that, then how do they know?
they have taught that though. It's just the difference in grade level curriculum isn't enormous. I don't know if you get, like, if you looked at the 3rd grade curriculum and the 4th grade curriculum, you're gonna see some slight differences. You're not gonna see an astronomical leap, like, you know, going from, you know, 6th grade math to algebra. That would be a unique difference, right? But from 4th grade to 5th grade, and this is why it works really well at elementary schools, because 6th grade teachers aren't teaching something that is gonna be foreign to the 5th grade curriculum. They will have been introduced to a lot of those topics. By the end of 5th grade year, they're gonna be looking at 6th grade stuff, and vice versa for all the other grade levels. So there's some overlap that's baked into the curriculum on purpose, intentionally. So the teachers will be familiar with a lot of the stuff that's in that book. They might not be familiar with everything, but that's where prep time comes in. That's where the PLCs come in. That's where the professional development comes in. You spend time looking at those things, and realistically, if you're moving from a different grade level, you have an enormous amount of time to sit down and look to see what might be different from this grade level to the next grade level. And it's really only applicable to math, because reading is reading. The different standards are different, but it's still fundamentally the same kind of concept that you're working with. So to answer your question, if I'm understanding it correctly, I don't really think that you're looking at something that's so drastically different that it's gonna be hard for the teachers to pick up. Those curriculums, they can look at it now. And actually, part of our PLC process, that's professional learning communities, is that we actually get together with the grade level below and the grade level above, and we talk about curriculum and vertical articulation. Vertical articulation means aligning what we're doing from 4th grade to 5th grade, and what the similarities are, what's the difference, what does the 5th grade team need from the 4th grade team to get the students ready for these content things that they're gonna cover. And so the teachers have those conversations every year, all the time. And so the difference is when you get a brand new curriculum like Eureka, they're studying that currently, but by next year, they would have had conversations about what are some of the similarities, what are some of the differences, what do we need to get our students ready for this next grade level. And so the way that we do PLCs here actually lends itself really well to making sure that process is very smooth. I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure if I'm.
Is it safe to assume that the teachers that are looping up chose to?
No,
Or
it's
no?
not safe to assume that.
Okay.
As a principal, one of the discretions I get is on where the teacher placement is going.
Okay.
And I make those decisions not lightly, but in collaboration with the teachers. And I do what's, at the end of the day, here's what matters, right?
Okay.
What do you think I'm gonna say?
The kids.
The kids. Students first. I also said that on day one, if you have that rolling. It's about students. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's not about you. Sorry. It's really about the students. And so my job is to do what's going to be best for them and putting them in the situation that I think is going to make them excel.
If, speaking of the students, if the teacher isn't happy though, how will that translate to the student? If they don't want to move grade levels, will that?
We're professionals. You know what I mean?
Some of them.
Well, here's the deal. You can be unhappy, but you're expected to be a professional. And your obligation and your contract states certain things. And if a teacher has a problem with that, I'll sit down and have a conversation with them.
Okay, so you're
But-
open, like, because I know some teachers really are not comfortable doing certain grades. So you're open to them saying, I'm really not comfortable, I've had this experience, or whatever the case may be, and that's taken
Oh,
into
yeah.
consideration also.
I met with every single teacher that I decided to move. And we had conversations in full multiple times. And most of the teachers, with a few exceptions, were very happy. And after they found out that they would be looping with their kids, they were pretty happy with that. And so I don't think that they knew all the details and things like of that nature. But I will go back to this and, I'm not trying to be like a hard ass or anything like that.